On the news, Minister of Economy submits new minimum wage cost to President Tinubu. Senate considers bill to regulate cattle rearing amid farmers' herders crisis in Nigeria. And GHQ gives report in achievement of military, police, DSS and customs in 1 year. It's a pleasure to have you join us on News Now on TV 360 Nigeria. I'm Tamilore Akinkwole. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has submitted the projected cost implications of implementing a new national minimum wage to President Bola Tinubu. Edun, along with the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, presented President Tinubu with the cost implications of the new minimum wage in his office at the Presidential Villa in Abuja on Thursday. Now, speaking with State House correspondents after meeting with the President, Edun verified the submission and reassured that there is no cause for alarm. Edun's submission of the cost implication follows a 48-hour ultimatum issued to him by President Tinubu on Tuesday during a meeting with the government negotiation team on the new minimum wage led by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume. A spokesperson for Nigeria's security and response agencies have credited robust interagency collaboration for their notable successes and achievements over the past 1 year. During a joint press conference organized by the Strategic Communication Interagency Advisory Policy Committee, coordinated by the Office of the National Security Advisor, the committee highlighted how this collaboration has made security operations more comprehensive, strategic, and effective. Now, speaking on behalf of the security agencies, Major General Edward Buba reported that between May 2023 and June 2024, Nigerian troops eliminated 9,303 terrorists, arrested 6,988 terrorists, along with their logistics suppliers and informants, and rescued 4,641 hostages. Additionally, representatives from the Department of State Services, DSS, and Nigeria Police Force, Peter Afunaya and Olumuyiwa Adejobi, addressed misinformation regarding killings in Abia State, while also urging Nigerians to continue supporting and respecting security and response agencies in their ongoing efforts to ensure a safer and more secure nation.
Several high-profile terrorist commanders and their associates were either taken off the battlefield or apprehended across multiple states as a result of the intelligence provided. This prevented potential catastrophic incidents from occurring within our country. Intelligence activities led to several confiscations, which included illegal items such as improvised explosive devices, firearms, ammunition, and dangerous psychoactive substances. The second in command of a notorious terrorist, alias Full Fire, identified as Mr. Teka Atoba, was arrested as a result of intelligence provided.
We can't stay and wait until our heads are pulled over our necks. If there is any information that any person should give about security and those who are behind the obnoxious acts in our various communities and the hinterlands, please, whether you are a journalist or any person for that matter, come forward and share your information with us.
The Kaduna State House of Assembly ad hoc committee probing the financial dealings of the 8 years administration of former Governor Nasiru El-Rufai has indicted him and some key members of the cabinet for for alleged corruption in the awards of contracts and management of both domestic and foreign loans obtained by his government. And the report submitted to the House by the chairman of the ad hoc committee, Henry Danjuma, it said there were evidence of several cases of corruption in the running of the affairs of the government, ministries, departments, and agencies in Kaduna State from 29th of May 2015 to 29th of May 2023. Now, after adopting the report, the House recommended that the Kaduna Internal Revenue Service withdraw their internally generated revenue account domiciled at Zenith Bank as security for 20 billion naira guaranteed in 2023 forthwith, and request the bank to refund all monies deducted on the account of the purported illegal guarantee together with the accrued interest thereof. It also recommended that all the commissioners of finance of the state from 29th of May to 29th of May 2023 be referred to the appropriate law enforcement agencies for a thorough investigation, and that all the accountant general of the state from 29th of May 2015 to 29th of May 2023 be referred to the appropriate law enforcement agencies for investigation. Now, earlier on, I spoke with the chairman of EDA, Lanre Suraj, on the indictment of former governor of Kaduna State, and I began by asking a mistake on the decision of the State House of Assembly to indict El-Rufai on alleged corruption.
It's something that is very useful and good for our democratic experience and also experiment. This is what consolidates good governance and accountable government, in the country. At a time when what we've had so far has been the spate and heavy level of corruption at the subnational level, particularly the states. It's always been very difficult to have, the same party undertaking this level and type of investigation to unearth what are the issues that must have happened in the previous government of their predecessor.
All right, Mr. Suraj, now what are your thoughts on the Kaduna Assembly's recommendation to suspend the commissioners involved?
If there are those who are already indicted by the outcomes of the investigation panel, then I think it would also be very instrumental and instructive to ensure that we get the those who are directly or indirectly involved suspended from office. It is not normal, and that is why we have the challenge in this part of the world that people are indicted and they still continue to occupy a position of public offices. And that is something that we need to also review. So if some of the officers in the current Kaduna government are also indicted by the outcome of the panel, it is only natural that pending the conclusion of their cases, especially if they are also still in holding sensitive position, where they can tamper with evidence that are associated with the investigation, it is only natural that they are suspended from office.
Well, lastly, before I let you go, how important is it to hold public officials accountable regardless of their status or position?
Accountability is a very cardinal point and stand of any both public and private, enterprise system and operations. It is very critical that we must encourage people to either be self-accountable or system demand accountability. The lack of accountability breeds impunity, and that is why the level of corruption in Nigeria has actually grown beyond what you would call corruption, but has gone into the level of impunity, where particularly at the subnational level, and more importantly, the governors who are many times in control of the local government and local government funds and the local government machineries, and also even controlling the House of Assembly, the commissioners, and the rest of governance. that you don't have any semblance of accountability, and at all levels we must promote it. And I beg to also, without fear of contradiction, say that we don't have accountability at all at our state level, and majority of the state governors operate like emperors. I mean, regardless of the president just stating the obvious about the governors not also complementing the effort of the federal government.
And that was the chairman of EDA, Lanre Suraj, speaking on the recent indictment of former governor of Kaduna State, chaired by the State Assembly. Moving on, in a major development aimed at addressing one of Nigeria's most persistent conflicts, the Nigerian Senate has begun work on a bill to establish the National Animal Husbandry and Ranchers Commission. The proposed legislation, which targets the long-standing clashes between farmers and herders, could mark a turning point in the country's approach to animal husbandry and land use. Now, this next report tells us how it has sparked a major debate in the Senate, with senators divided over its potential implications. The bill, sponsored by Senator Titus Taringa of Benue Northwest, represents a structured approach to animal husbandry intended to mitigate the recurring disputes over land use. The legislation proposes a prohibition on open grazing across Nigeria. This is intended to control the unregulated movement of cattle by introducing a regulated system of ranches. The bill therefore aims to create a more organized and efficient method of cattle rearing. The sponsor of the bill says this could reduce conflicts, enhance livestock management, and boost agricultural productivity.
We cannot afford to look on while the country burns into ashes as a result of violent clashes between sedentary farmers and nomadic herders. Doing so would amount to abdication of our statutory and leadership responsibilities. The menace of farmers and herders crisis can easily be cured through a legislative therapy banning open grazing in Nigeria.
All the lawmakers backing the bill say they believe the commission would effectively address the elder farmer crisis, leading to improved security and economic stability in the affected areas.
We consider this. I also want us to look at the Land Use Act as an impediment to this particular very wonderful bill, to ensure that we can get and put to rest this matter of herder-farmer clash.
And now, no cattle routes. The cattle, they are all over the place. You will even see them on Abuja Street. You see them all over the place. They enter people's farmland and causing problems all over the country. This bill must be allowed to have its place.
But some Northern senators expressed reservations about the bill, including Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin, urging caution and highlighting the controversial nature of the bill and that it could lead to increased regional tensions.
I'm not against this bill, but I'm against the idea of restricting movement of Nigerians from one state to another. Some people close their eyes on what is going on or what lead herders to go against farmers. There is so many issues which we need to attend.
Senate President Godswill Akpabio has referred the bill to the Senate Committee on Agriculture, Judiciary and Legal Matters. This committee is expected to review the bill in detail and report back its findings in 4 weeks.
For an act to establish National Animal Boundary and Ranches Commission for the regulation, management, preservation and control of ranches throughout Nigeria and for connected purposes 2024. Second reading taken. It is now referred to the Senate Committee on Agriculture and Trade and Investment and Legal Services, Judiciary, Legal Services, in fact, Judiciary and Legal Matters, to report back to the Senate in 1 month.
Nigeria has been grappling with clashes between farmers and herders for ages. Many believe the establishment of the National Animal Husbandry and Ranches Commission has the potential to address the long-standing problem. But successive governments in the country have not been able to come up with a national legislation or policy on ranching. It remains to be seen if its current Senate and the country would be able to crack the difficult nut. Tamilore Akinkolie, TV360, Lagos. The Nigerian Senate has also advanced the bill to its second reading that seeks to amend the Free Universal Basic Education Act to include penalties for parents who deny their children basic education. Sponsored by Senator Adebule Idiat of Lagos West, the bill proposes a fine of 250,000 naira for parents who fail to enroll their children in school, aiming to address the rising number of out-of-school children in Nigeria. Senate President Godswill Akpabio also voiced his support and the importance of ensuring all children have access to the education. The bill has been referred to the Senate Committee on Education, Basic and Secondary for further consideration, and the committee is expected to report back to the Senate in 2 weeks, providing further insight and recommendations on the proposed amendments and their potential impact on improving access to education for all children in Nigeria.
In the quantum of school children, of out-of-school children, due to various reasons, some of which are redeemable through amending the enabling laws. Against this background, this bill seeks to amend the UBEC Act 2024 to rejuvenate the objectives of the Act and reinforce the urgent need for the full implementation of the free, compulsory, and quantitative basic education for children in Nigeria.
Our social development, but our economic development, and of course, adverse effects on the security of our country. Those who are not able to go to school, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, will find their ways to the Boko Haram enclaves, to the bandits, to the militants, and so on and so forth. So I believe that we have every reason to devote sufficient or reasonable, significant resources to the development of our basic education. Indeed, there must be a bit of sanction for any parent or guardian that has a child of school age and does not allow that child to go to school to obtain basic education. I had the opportunity to sign a bill into a law when I was a governor on free and compulsory basic education from primary to senior secondary school level. And we also enshrined provisions that carried up to 6 months imprisonment for any parent or guardian that has a child of school age and sends that child to go and hawk or to go to the farm during school days. So we must find a way to embellish within the Act itself when eventually signed.
We'll take a break here, but coming up, WHO confirms first amended from new bird flu strain. Full details of the story after this break. Welcome back. Now a quick recap of our top stories. The Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, has presented the projected cost implications of a new national minimum wage to President Bola Tinubu. Accompanied by the Minister of Budget and International Planning, Atiku Badugu, Edun made the submission at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Now, after the meeting, Edun reassured the public that there is no cost for alarm. This submission follows a 48-hour ultimatum given by President Tinubu during a recent meeting with the government's negotiation team on the new minimum wage led by Senator George Akume. We also told you that the Nigerian Senate has begun work on a bill to establish the National Animal Husbandry and Ranches Commission. This proposed legislation targets the long-standing clashes between farmers and herders and could mark a turning point in the country's approach to animal husbandry and land use. However, the bill has sparked a major debate in the Senate, with senators divided over its potential implications. Now, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Lime's World TV and ABO TV. Log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery and Apple Store. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. It's now time for business news, and Joy Uche James is on standby. Over to you, Joy.
Thank you, Tamilore, and welcome to Business News. President Bola Tinubu has called on the international development financiers to see Africa as a destination for growth and prosperity, not a danger to the rest of the free world. Tinubu said this at a meeting with a delegation of the International Finance Corporation, a member of the World Bank Group, led by its managing director, Makhtar Diop. The president urged global financiers to consider more strategic investments in agriculture, infrastructure, research and development on the continent. In his remarks, Diop informed the president that during his working visit to Nigeria, the IFC had engaged in productive discussions with Nigerian partners to enhance agriculture, increase food production through irrigation farming, upgrade transport networks, and bolster regional integration.
What we would like to do is, first of all, to increase the transformation of commodities. You are a certain number of commodities which are produced. We just signed with a medium-sized enterprise in Nigeria, a transformation of the cocoa beans in chocolate. So this is the kind of investment which are important. Why? Because when you export raw cocoa beans, it brings you $1 in on your reserves. When you export a transformed product, you have $3. So this transformation will help on the macroeconomic side, will help the central bank to have more reserves, but also we create jobs. We would like also to invest in food production, because one of the main items in the consumption basket of the Nigerian is food products. So more we invest in it, so more we will be able to lower the cost of this food product to the Nigerian, and therefore help in reducing poverty and help the poorest of the Nigerians.
We'll take a short break and be back with stock market reports. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Nigeria's equities market has successfully shaved off the wins of Wednesday's trading to close in the negative at 0.15% on Thursday. And this is as 117 NGX listed equities participated in trading, ending with 17 gainers and 18 losers. Leading the laggards, it's May and Baker Industry with an end-of-day price appreciation of 10% to close at 6 Naira, followed by Fidelity Bank, also losing nearly 10% of their share price. Now, at the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, a total of 309 million volumes of shares were traded in 6,765 deals, equating to a market value of about 5 billion naira. Now, compared with the previous NGX trading day, which was Wednesday, today's data shows 11% improvement in turnover, but 12% decline in deals, which had an influence on today's red trade. Now, on to our foreign stocks. It's a completely different scenery as world stocks hit hit an all-time high, and the euro rose on Thursday after the European Central Bank cut interest rates for the first time in nearly 5 years, leaving the UK's FTSE, the US Dow Jones, and the Japan's Nikkei to close in the bulls. Brilliant trading on that end. Now let's take a quick look at our foreign exchange market. With still good news as Naira continues to gain against the dollar to trade at 1,481 Naira on the official market and at 1,495 Naira on the black market. The Great British Pound traded at 1,893 Naira on the official market and at 1,890 Naira on the black market. And lastly, the Euros traded at 1,611 Naira on the official market and at 1,570 Naira on the black market. That's the both business and stock market report. Back to you, Tammy, for the rest of the news.
Thank you for that update, Joy. Now, on the global scene, the World Health Organization, WHO, has announced that a resident of Mexico became the world's first person to die from a bird flu strain not previously detected in Wuhan. The H5N2 strain of avian influenza has been recorded in birds worldwide, but no cases of human infection or death has been recorded until now. The 59-year-old man, a resident of the state of Mexico in the central part of the country, had fallen ill in April. Now, according to WHO, the man had numerous underlying medical conditions and had been bedridden for 3 weeks before developing acute symptoms. On April 17, he reported fever, shortness of breath, diarrhea, nausea, and general malaise. So far, health authorities do not know the origin of the contagion, since the man had no history of exposure to poultry or other animals. And still on the foreign scene, at least 6 Filipino crew members of a fishing boat were killed when an explosion and a fire hit their vessel at the sea of a central Philippine province, Coast Guard officials said on Thursday, adding 6 others were rescued. Now, surviving crew members, including the skipper, are being treated at the hospital and are too traumatized to tell investigators what set off the explosion and fire on board their vessel on Wednesday night. Videos and pictures issued by the Coast Guard shows flames and smoke billowing from the fishing boats as rescuers scanned the water in darkness. Crew members with burns injuries are now carried to safety by Coast Guard personnel. And on sport, Bafana of South Africa have finally arrived in Uyo for Friday's 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Nigeria. The players and the officials arrived at the Victor Atta International Airport, Uyo, around 11 a.m. on Thursday. The contingent left off their base 4 Points by Sheraton Hotel following their arrival. The delegation arrived in Nigeria on Wednesday night but spent the night in Port Harcourt after failing to connect a flight to Uyo. Igbo's side will have their final training later this evening. And that wraps up our bulletin on News Now. Many thanks for watching. I'm Tamilore Akinkwole. See you again next time.